Well then, let's just head into Megumi and Sasa, I would say. Since we discovered pretty much everything, just let me make sure one more time. Because I really don't want to miss anything right here. Okay, so I think we are fine. So let's start off with Megumi, and then we're gonna head into... Or is it? Is it Umi? Or is it Nah, it has to be... Yeah, it has to be... Megumi. Yeah, I think it's Megumi. Okay, let's check this out then. Extra scene, Megumi, first time. Let's go. Yep. Told ya. I have no complaints about all the time I've spent alone with Sachi-san, but it's really been so long since I've known anyone else, someone I can even greet in the hallways. I didn't know how much I missed it. And I even got a response. I suppose I'm happy about that. Of course not. Yeah, she's really keeping her voice down as well. Yuna whispered to me, bouncing her vision between the people around her. But I can't tell her that I said hi because I wanted to. She's gotta respect me. Let's see. Is she gonna tell about the toilet ghost? I can't really think of anything to tell her. I usually say pretty much everything I need to on the roof. Yuna cut off my thoughts before I could figure out what to say. That toilet ghost, you know? We were already at the end of the deserted hallway, but Yuna lowered her voice to be almost inaudible. She hesitated for a moment, an awkward look on her face. What is it? Okay. She's going to say she's fallen for Sachi-san too, is she? Declare herself my rival. I mean, I'm gonna say it again. This game was released when smartphones were already a thing, and before that the internet was a thing. You can't tell me that none of the girls right here, be it in school, be it at home, doesn't matter, didn't look that shit up. You know? Didn't look up porn or anything like that. You can't tell me that. Or that some girls got it going on and they didn't and they didn't, you know, like catch on to that. Reading out don't scare me like that. I thought it was something serious. I didn't think it would be that of all things. Why do we want an unregrettable first time so much? Why can't we just figure it out if we love each other? You'd think she'd do better than a vacant stare. Fine, I guess I'll have to teach her. Kids these days don't know anything. Okay, teach her, Megumi. Let's see. Right. She had dyed hair and a super long skirt, and she was going out with a punk. In class she was kind of a loner, but if she started talking about something, all the girls in class would cool out and listen to her. Me too. Of course I couldn't just quietly eavesdrop when she was talking about first times. I asked her a few questions too. What? Yeah. Yuna's looking at me like she kind of gets it and kind of doesn't. Well, fine. I went close and whispered the details into Yuna's ear. I knew no one could hear me, but it was the sort of thing you just... It wasn't the sort of thing you just say out loud. I mean... But I mean... She's a lesbian, so that, you know, like, it doesn't apply.
ちゃったんだ。で、仕方ないから。だけど、もうすごい量の。
Did they really have to censor in?
翌日もが、のまま我慢するしかなくて。そりゃもう痛くて辛くて疲れるだけの体験だったって。
I backed up a little and looked at Yuna. She was silent, the color drained from her face.
悲惨でしょ？そうね。でもそれって男の人が相手の話だからじゃないの？そうかもしれないけど、そうじゃないかもしれないじゃない。やってみてダメだったらどうするの？
What doesn't work? What do you mean?
そうだけど。
What do you mean if it doesn't work?
せっかくの初体験なのよ。初めてなのよ。たった一度きりのことなのに台無しなんて許せない。
Well, yeah, that's the whole point.
サチさんにこの話をしたら、私たちは慎重に行きましょうって言ってくれたし、私とサチさんは相思相愛、完璧な絆で結ばれた完璧なカップルなんだから、初体験も完全無欠じゃなきゃいけないの。
I agree with that, though. Yes, really, it's true. I almost want to applaud myself. Yeah. It would be the same if it were, It would be the same even if we weren't so perfect. Isn't it only natural that the first time you become one with your lover should be a wonderful experience to fondly remember for the rest of your life? Yeah, most of the time that isn't the case, though. Yet Yuna just nods to herself like always with that boring look on her face that makes it impossible to guess what she's thinking. We get some more clearance. What a dull response. Then she went off saying class is gonna start. Yuna had a look on her face like, I guess that makes sense. She's still such a kid. One day she'll understand what I meant, and then she'll regret not thanking her senpai in life here.
Senpai ka.
She kinda is, yeah. So it's been a really long time since I've had anyone to talk to as their senpai. It doesn't really feel like it since I still look like I did back then, but I'm like a generation wiser than she is, and I'm 200 steps ahead of her when it comes to experience and love.
Senpai.
Are you? Well, yeah. Yeah, sorta, yeah. Yeah, that doesn't feel bad. She's a pretty useful junior to have around, I guess. Though, it's lame that Yuna doesn't seem to think of me as her senpai at all. I just have to keep explaining my wisdom to her like this whenever I see her. Yeah, she's really gonna appreciate that. I've got lots of things to teach her as her senpai, and I've gotta keep an eye on her to make sure she doesn't make a move on Sachi-san. Like, even if she does, she can't really interact with Sachi-san anyway, so, you know. Okay. I doubt that's the only thing that we get from Megumi. I hope it's not. Alright. Let's check this out. I think there's something new here. Or not. Let's keep checking. No, that was the only thing. Megumi only gets one thing. Maybe Sachi-san also only gets one thing. We're gonna have to wait and see about that. Oh wait, hold on. There's a new one. How did I miss that? Home cooking. I always... No, wait. Okay, yeah, obviously. That I was about to say, like, I'm always confused. Is it Megumi or is it Umi? But obviously that is Umi, so yeah, now I can distinguish that better. Home cooking. Let's check this out. Finding me in the classroom after school, Yuna looked a little surprised. Or maybe like a what than a surprise. 2 months ago, she had fled from us like a rabbit, but I guess she's not as easy to frighten now. When she ran from us that first time, I thought she was pretty rude, but I'm kind of disappointed that we can't get a rise out of her anymore. I was just bored, so I was waiting for her here. I like the classrooms after school, how the evening sun shines into them and fades with the noise of the day. When I look at the sky from the classrooms, I don't feel so concerned that I've died, and that so much time has passed since then. Oh, before the summer festival thing, I guess. Yuna was walking to her desk as she answered. She pulled some printouts out from a folder and started lining them up in neat rows.
そうでもないわ。そう。じゃあ少し話そうかな。
I expected her face would be immediately switched to I'm busy here. But Yuna glanced around to make sure we were alone, then pulled out an extra chair from the desk next to hers and sat down at her own.
私のための椅子？本当に気の回る子。
Is it though? Okay, it is. I sat sidelong on the chair and looked back at Yuna, a small feeling of happiness bubbling up inside me. I mean, it felt like we were normal students wasting time after school, sitting close together, putting our feet up. I doubt Yuna did it with that in mind or anything, but it made me really happy for some reason. Yuna worked at the papers on her desk silently and efficiently. It looked like she was going over everything about cooking duty for the track team, like how many servings could fit each piece of cookware, how much food she could stuff in a fridge. Start with vegetables, which won't keep for long, or switch between meat and fish. Make hot dishes easy to eat even without an appetite, or refreshing things that are best cold. It was just a menu, but Yuna was treating it kinda like a puzzle. I knew she was concentrating, but it was still a rather curt response, not that I minded. Oh, okay. I puffed out my chest when Yuna looked up with surprise. Guess that wasn't really something to brag about, but it did seem to catch Yuna's interest. What was it, carbonara or something? That she liked? Or was it pasta? Something like that. Madeleines? What are Madeleines? I never heard about that though.
自分で食べる分にはタルトやパイが好きだけど、体力使うし、パイ生地って難しいからあんまり作れなかったな。
Actually, the marble slate I used for kneading crusts was too heavy, so I dropped and broke it once. I got in a lot of trouble and was forbidden from making them anymore.
ご飯だったら得意なのはチキンライス。簡単だけど美味しいわよね。
Obviously.
お昼ならそのまま。 夜ならオムライスにしちゃう。うん。洋食も結構作ったわ。
Sounds good.
ハンバーグとかナポリタンとか。
I think for some, I don't know, for some odd reason, Napolitan is really damn popular in Japan. I don't know why though.
トマトケチャップが好きなの？ああ、うん。確かによく使ってたかも。
If you do hamburgers and you don't put ketchup on it, then you're just a Sith. I hadn't really thought about it, but now that she's pointing it out, I mean, it's kind of rich and just a little sweet. It's pretty tasty, isn't it? Look at the sugar, look at the sugar part of ketchup, by the way. I looked at it the other day, and it's fucking insane. Oh, yes. Actually, for every piece of meat that I eat, basically, I also always need soy sauce. If you use it once on meat, you use it every time.
煮干しと鰹節と昆布。あ、でもなんだっけ、一度親戚からもらった干物を焼いて砕いて出汁を取ったらすごく美味しかったのよね。
Well, I was about to say the poisonous one, blowfish or something like that. I can't remember.
何かしら。なんかこうガッと口を開いてて、最初は怖かったんだけど。
Carp?
すっごい簡単な名前の。アゴ？
Or that.
それだわ、アゴ。
Yeah, ahigao. Sure. Thought it was carp for some reason. Don't you? Can you use stock for that too? I think you can.
トビウオ。そうなんだ。実は私、魚さばくの苦手で、魚にはあんまり詳しくないの。そうなの？だってなんか生々しいじゃない。ぐんにゃりしててデローっとしてて匂いも強烈だし。
Yeah, the smell, I give that to you. Also, when you just put like tuna on a pizza and put it in the oven, like that stuff reeks, man. I don't know how anyone... Like, I love tuna. I love tuna on pizza as well, not as much though, but I'm always impressed that I can actually still eat it after, like, smelling it. But yeah, you know, Gordon Ramsay right here. It's fucking raw! It's been a long time since I've talked about cooking with anyone. My cooking actually wasn't that popular. It's true that I tried a bunch of stuff though, and I was talking about it with Yuna, so I wanted to brag a little. I haven't had much opportunity to reminisce, but I did like cooking, and even if I couldn't eat much, I liked eating too. But I liked it much more when other people ate what I cooked. It's a great feeling to hear the words "it's good," and even more so when it's from... Even if it's some... And even more so when it's someone special to you saying them. Yeah. Oh, Yuna's peeved. I can see it on her face. She's like, of course we end up there. Well, I did feel bad for suddenly changing the subject from cooking, but I bet Yuna likes people eating her food better than actually making it too. Ah.
ユナに取り付いたら私も料理できるんだけどな。そこまでは嫌。ケチ。でもサチさんが食べられないのよね。ああ、残念だわ。もし作ってあげるとしたら何がいい？
What, is she being considerate again? I suppose I can answer, at least fantasizing is free after all.
そうね。サチさん新しいもの好きだから食べたことがないものがいいかな。
Yeah, I bet she'd enjoy that. She'd say, "This is so interesting, you're amazing, Megumi," or "May I have more?"
でもやっぱりおにぎりかな。
Well, that's not something new, obviously.
おにぎり？
I wonder why. Thinking about Sachi-san's face is just sort of... I just sort of landed on onigiri. They are not novel or special at all, and they are probably too simple to be really called cooking. No, it is not simple, man. But I just felt like Sachi-san eating my homemade onigiri would make me really happy. Does it?
何度も言うけどね、ユナ。サチさんに色目使ったら。
Yuna said, looking excess separated again. I know you want to tell me to lay it off already. But I can't help how I feel. It's scary. It's scary just imagining another person thinking about Sachi-san. I've never had to worry about someone stealing Sachi-san away from me before. Only now here's Yuna who can see her too.
だってサチさんほどの恋人を持つと気苦労が多いのよ。だってあの美貌でしょ。それなのに優しいし強いし頼りがいがあるし。
We know. Yeah. Yuna snapped at me, putting together the prints out she was finishing with. That's when the classroom door suddenly opened and Hina-chan walked in. I guess Yuna had been caught pretty off guard. I could see the tight grip she had on the papers. I whispered to her and saw her eyes twitch for a second. She was streaming. She made a lame excuse with a face that said something like, I screwed up. It wasn't the sort of mistake Yuna would usually make. But Hina-chan just tilted her head like she didn't really care. Cut that shit out, Yuna. Don't answer. Exactly. You're not made to answer me on reflex, then froze. I wasn't even trying to be mean that time. She should have been rather flustered, but Yuna put not only her own chair back but mine as well and left. She turned around just before the hallway and said goodbye to me with just her eyes. And I was left alone in the classroom once again. The light outside the window was all but gone now. Enough to make the school a little eerie and a little lonely. Up to Sachi-san we go. Maybe because I'd just been having such a natural after-school experience, its absence left me feeling a little forlorn. Exactly. And today we can, no, like always, we can spend the whole night flirting. I whispered, see you tomorrow, and left the darkened classroom. Goody. So that was 2. Usually we have like 3 for each person. And seems to be the case this time too. Because there is something new here. Yes. Worry. Great that we apparently finish off with that. On my daily Yuri patrol, I happened across Sono-chan dozing in the Hoshkan tatami room. She'd fallen asleep in a weird position, leaning against the wall and holding her shoelaces. She was probably thinking she'd rest a little while, but fell prey to her drowsiness. In the 4th day of the camp, and they've been holed up. Wait, it's the 4th day of the camp, and they've been holed up in their little task force HQ the whole time. I think she's just plain out of steam. She has that steam on her phone. I stood next to her and peered down at her face. It's not like there was anything I could do for her, but I wanted to know she was okay. She tries way harder than everyone else despite that small frame of hers. Her body can't keep up with all the sort of with all the extra work she does though, so it fights back with fevers and spells of anemia. I know what it's like to try to keep up with everyone when your body is frail. You feel pathetic that your body... Oh yeah, they're kind of similar in that sense. You feel pathetic that your body can't do what's normal. Then you feel sicker and sicker and can barely stay on your feet. And then there's the anxiety. She gets nosebleeds. But Sono-chan still does her best every day, never complaining. Respect. I doubt she'd want to hear that from someone who fell heads over heels in love, worked too hard because of it, and wound up like a ghost like I did. Wound up a ghost like I did, though. Speaking of giving your all, she said that herself the day she started working here, didn't she? Did she? Oh yeah, she lives up to that, for sure. Yeah, it was a really good introduction now that I think about it. Really fitting her. Really fitting for her. But I think most of the girls were too distracted by how small she was to really pay any mind to that. Especially the part about growing, she really does need to grow, doesn't she? She seemed to be on everyone's tongues at the time, I could tell. Oh, she's the best. She helped out all the couples basically also. At least like Koba and Aryu, she helped them. Wasn't it another one? She kind of wanted to help Yuna as well. But there was another couple that she helped. Oh yeah, obviously she spoke to the other girls about Aihara Senpai, right? That they shouldn't like force any more work that is unnecessary on her. And also she talked to the teachers about that. That was pretty nice. But Sono-chan was true to her motto. She gives everything all of her might, not only in front of a class, but where no one watches too. Well, I watch. Even though she's failed, she'll try to hide it when she's working hard and starts struggling. Oh, but I don't have to worry as much now. Sono-chan doesn't have to struggle with it alone anymore since Kiri-san started school here. Kiri-san follows her around everywhere after all, and she's good at seeing through Sono-chan's facade. Sometimes she literally drags, Sono-chan to the nurse's office when she is insisting she's alright with an assertiveness that makes you wonder which one's the teacher. And lately, when it looks like she might have a fever, Kiri-san's got one of those white things to slap on her forehead. Kiri-san is amazing.
そのおちゃんのこと好きって気持ちが強くて暴走しちゃいがちだけどでもそのおちゃんにはああいう子が必要なのかな
Yep. But Kiri-san wasn't here this time. I knew I couldn't be her replacement, but I grasped Sono-chan's hand as she slept all the same.
無理しないでね先生
Oh, don't let Kiri see that.
大丈夫
A murmur very, very fitting for her came back through the deep breaths of her sleep. Sometimes I'll get responses like this if I talk to her while she is sleeping. It's mysterious.
そうだ
I stood up, remembering something.
ユナ今はどこにいるかな
Sono-chan will catch a cold like this, and even if she doesn't, I bet the work's just gonna pile up for the task force. I'll go catch Yuna and get her to come wake Sono-chan, or if it doesn't look too busy, maybe bring her a blanket instead, or maybe I'll get her to tell Kiri-san to do it.
ユナって便利
Well, Yuna should tell Kiri, especially lately. Maybe it's a bother for her to do so much for us, but it's really nice that we can actually do stuff now instead of just watch. True that. She's convenient. That's for sure.